Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesh Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I would like to chant a verse. The translation would be a little interesting for all of us. That is what I hope. It would be interesting for all of us. So the verse is Kripanena samodata na bhuto na bhavishyati aprushaneva vittaniya paribhyo prayachati. Was that interesting? Sounded good, isn't it? The translation is there has never been, nor will ever be a philanthropist equal to or greater than a miser. Is that interesting now? So, kripanena na samodata. Data means a generous person. Kripan is a miser. So, kripanena samodatana. There can never be a person more generous than a miser. Bhuto na bhavishyati. There has never been in the past, na bhavishyati. And in the future too. There shall be no one equal to a miser in being generous. Aprushaneva vittaniha. The reason is aprushaneva. The miser accumulates a lot of wealth and never spends it, or spends it very frugally. So after death, who gets to enjoy all the wealth? Those who survive the miser. So if you want to be wealthy in life, this is not my suggestion, but I'm saying that if one wants to be wealthy in life, all we need to do is be born in a family of a miser. Who's wealthy enough. So obviously there's some sarcasm here. In a very humorous way. a pertinent point is being put forth. To explain the principle that is being stated in this particular verse, there is a story in the Puranas. Once upon a time, there lived a miser. The miser had accumulated a lot of wealth, was very stingy, very rude. The rudeness was basically the miser's defense mechanism. He did not want people to approach him for anything. Especially, he did not want to pay for other people's needs. But he'd always be available for a free lunch wherever it was, wherever and whenever it was possible. So he had a lot of wealth. No charity. Would always try to keep himself away from acts of kindness because he felt that would make him weak. He died. So since the story is from the Puranas, he went to the abode of Yamaraj, judgment day for him. And then they looked at his records and they said, sorry sir, you have to go to a place where you get trained up. He said, what is the place called? They said, hell. Did good training. So he goes to hell. He's suffering a lot. So he starts praying to Krishna. My dear Lord, please save me. For the first few days and months that he spent there, it seemed that the Lord was not listening to him. But remember, he's a miser. Misers, if they latch onto an idea that they feel is beneficial, they really cling on to it. So it's like, I have to just go on till the time Krishna responds. So finally the Lord, he felt some compassion towards him in terms of, is there something that I can do to help him? So the Lord goes to Yamaraj, the person who keeps all the records. He goes to the Yamaraj and to the relevant department and he asks them, is there any act for which I can benedict him? I just don't want to give him a free pass. It wouldn't set the right example. So even a small act of kindness, charity, something that he did to help out another person. They looked through all of his life events. They said, sorry, dear Lord, there's not even a single act of kindness or compassion. There's no act where he has lent a helping hand. So the Supreme Lord says that, could you look back into his other lifetimes, the records of other lifetimes? So they say, all right, you're a master, so that is your desire, will do that. So finally, somewhere they find a record of him. So he's been a miser like lifetime of a lifetime. Like he really cultivated miser consciousness. So they find that sometime in the past, he was so disgusted with a mendicant who had come seeking alms from him. He was so disgusted at him that he had a rotten banana and threw that at the mendicant. Here, take this. So the Lord said, oh, that's an act of kindness. He offered something. So the Lord said, all right, we shall give him some help. So he gave him a stick, which was long enough to climb out of hell. So he started climbing up that stick. And as he was climbing up, he noticed that other people in hell were also trying to climb up behind him. So he comes all the way down, trying to kick them off. This is only for me. And the stick disappears. So the story is that if you're not careful, the moral of the story is that we have to be very careful, very attentive of what feelings and emotions we inculcate within ourselves. As sentient beings, who is it that we want to be? What traits do we want to have as a person? So miser is always worried that he or she may lose out. So they always have this approach to life as a loser would have. They know how to figure out things, they know how to make money, they know how to kind of accumulate wealth, but they always feel that it is not enough. Therefore, a miser would always accumulate wealth to have a feeling of being protected or being happy. However, the miser is never happy. On the other hand, a generous person also accumulates wealth, but distributes most of it. And a generous person simply does it because he or she wants to see others happy. In the English language, we use two words to differentiate these two personalities. We say one is large-hearted and the other is small-hearted. Life is full of opportunities. Opportunities can be used if we have good comprehension in life. If we can comprehend the format in which the opportunities are available to us. If I'm not able to comprehend it, then opportunities just knock on the doors of our lives and go away. So comprehension is very important. Now, comprehension is also available to animals. For example, a lion on a full stomach may see a horde of deer walking right past him. But the lion can comprehend that and need not chase after them. So even animals have comprehension because our intellect it has been arranged in such a way that in the basic default mode, every living being can comprehend the needs of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So when they comprehend that the needs are there, then they try to fulfill it. And when the comprehension is that they do not need to do much because they are, for the moment, satisfied, then they have that comprehension of satisfaction too. Interestingly, when humans try to tweak their intelligence, because they have the facility to do it. It could be through their experience or through knowledge received. When they tweak their intelligence, then the comprehension that humans have presents itself in very weird ways. Prabhupada, our founder Acharya Prabhupada, would give this example. He would say that if a bag of grains has fallen on the pavement and the grains are all kind of strewn out of the bag, then the birds and the beasts may collect as much as they can, maybe little for storage, or whatever they can eat, they'll eat. And then they'll let the rest of the grains be as it is. A human would come along and try to take the whole bag for oneself. And after a few days, the grains may all become rotten because the human will not be able to consume it. But still, the human may find it very difficult to share it. Therefore, it is important that we receive good guidance from an early age. We are sentient beings, so we have sentiments. So it's good that we can cultivate some of these sentiments. However, cultivation needs some input in terms of guidance and direction. Then we can turn out to be good cultivators too. So training is helpful. Training is just to facilitate every human to use their intelligence in ways that is helpful. Training is not meant for us to become zombies. We are not supposed to undergo training to turn out to be perfect factory products. Training also reflects training, especially in either ways, good or not so good. Training reflects in our interactions with the world around us. So once upon a time, a young boy walks into a shop, let's say an eatery where you get, you're served food, maybe some pizza and ice cream. So he walks into that shop, a corner hotel coffee shop. Sits at a table, a waitress comes up to him. What would you like to order? So he's looked at the menu card, but he wants to just clarify things. So he says, do you have special ice cream? And what would it cost? She said, yes, we do have, and it would cost 50 cents. But these are the times when ice creams could cost under $1, right? So the boy takes out some change from his pocket, looks at it, counts the change. And then he says, and how much would a simple ice cream cost? She says 35 cents. Meanwhile, there are other customers too. So she's very brusque, like 35 cents. In her answer, she very brusquely answers, this is just a 10-year-old boy. So he orders a plate of plain ice cream. He's done with that. He requests for the bill. He takes the bill and pays it at the counter. And he walks away. The waitress comes back to the table to clean away the plate, take away the plate. And there she finds 15 cents which was left as a tip for her by this young boy. Well, just as all of you are, maybe, your eyes have mellowed down, the waitress also had tears in her eyes. And the interesting part is the boy did not wait around to be glorified. Because the boy just felt that that is normal behavior. He did not even feel that that is normal decency. He just felt that that is an ordinary act. That is what you do. Typically, 10-year-olds or under that, they do not understand the ways of the world as adults do. They're quite transparent. So just walked in. The waitress had tears in her eyes. Maybe the waitress was thinking that I misjudged the boy. Or maybe I should have dealt with him with a little more kindness. I'm not sure what the waitress was thinking. Or maybe she was thinking that this boy has been such a nice-mannered boy. So an act not only reflects the training that we've had, but it also makes others reflect on who they are. So simple act can have a lot of effect on the surrounding around us. Because someone has quoted quite rightly, one could live the world in two ways. The quote is, one could live in the world in two ways. The first could be where we think nothing is a miracle. The second way could be where we think everything is a miracle. Unquote. Krishna consciousness is about living a life along similar principles. Now, the word miracle may sound very mystical. A simple understanding of a miracle is that it makes you feel very secure. It makes you feel very comfortable. If you feel that there's a miracle in your life, you feel very comfortable with who you are and where you are. And if you feel that we've not had any miracles in our life, then even in the most secure of environments and in the most secure phase of our life, we would still be very uncomfortable. There was a little girl who was told at school that you can draw. You can make a drawing of anything that is very dear to you. So everyone got down to that task. The teacher goes around and she's asking his students, what is the topic? What are you drawing about? So she comes to this little girl and the teacher asks her, what is it that you're drawing about? She says, I'm drawing God. The teacher, she has a smile and she says, do you know that no one has seen God? The little girl says, well, in another 10 minutes, everyone shall know. After I'm done with my drawing, they should see God. So it's not so much as to who God is. God is God. Krishna is Krishna. But what is important is how do we as an individual relate with God. If God is simply an entity that is defined according to certain parameters, then there is the probability that we could feel close to God or we could feel a little distant from God. However, with the same entity, with the same parameters, can be related to according to our perception of our relationship with God. Especially a relationship that is unbiased, in terms of material needs. Because material needs, they create a kind of very skewed biases. Today, if I'm not happy, then I would not like to hang around with my best friend. Tomorrow, if I'm happy, I may even tolerate my worst enemy. So that is what makes material needs really undependable. You can never trust in what form these needs are going to manifest. One Srila Prabhupada was being served prasad in Mayapur. So they served him some product made out of cheese. In India, we call it paneer. So they served it out of paneer. Cottage cheese, cottage cheese. So Prabhupada said, this is cooked so perfectly. So the message was passed on to the devotee who cooked. So the next day he again makes the same preparation. So Prabhupada honors some part of it. The third day he makes another preparation, thinking that maybe yesterday's preparation, I did not do it well. I'm sorry. And Prabhupada does not even touch it. So he's practically in tears. He goes to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, did I make a mistake? And Prabhupada said, what happened? Well, the first day you said this was done so well. And you ate all of it. And yesterday you just ate some of it. Today you do not even touch it. Prabhupada said, yes, it is good, but not that I can eat it every day. You need variety. So you see, when we look at things through our material understanding, it is not very dependable. Why? Because materialism is defined by duality. It's always dual and opposite. Anything that is dual and opposite is material. Anything that is unique and eternally expanding is spiritual. So, biases. If there's the bias of our material needs in the way we consider our relationship with the Supreme Lord, then we are going to always feel unfulfilled. Because we are always going to be confused. Is this enough? How much is too much and how less is too less? We'll never be able to figure that out. So we accept certain parameters that define Krishna, that help us relate to Krishna. And then we find out our own unique way within those reflections to develop that deep connection with Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. In the early days, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, what is Krishna consciousness? And Srila Prabhupada smiled and he said, to be conscious of Krishna. Like, what is prasad consciousness? To be conscious of what prasad is. But I'm sure that each one of us is conscious about prasad in a very individual way. Similarly, every living entity has a very unique connection with Krishna. There is another verse that I would like to chant right now. And then I'll try to narrate a few other stories. Sujana paropkaram Shura Shastram Dhanam Kripana Kulabhaktyo Mandaksham Pranatyaya Munchati. So, this is also about Kripana. However, there are few other categories described in this verse. Persons who have a spirit of charity and helping others, warriors who are very chivalrous and always ready to protect themselves and others, persons belonging to a noble lineage are always aware of being gentle in their behavior. Similarly, misers are very much attached to their wealth. So much that even in the face of a life threat or death personified, they do not give up their nature. So those who are of a noble disposition would always, even in the face of a life threat, would want to be charitable. Those who have a very good lineage, they never give up their gentleness. Even if they have an argument, they are very, very gentle in their speech. Those who feel that they have the ability to protect others will do so. They will be the first one standing in the face of a life threat or death. The first one there. Similarly, a miser would rather accept death than give up one's wealth. So what can we learn from this? That if we find an object, if we find an emotion that we really want to hang on to, then it is possible. If we are really determined and we put our mind to an objective, a goal in life, it is possible. What is it that we want to achieve is ours to decide. That is free will. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the beautiful story of Krishna's friend from his school days. So Krishna, he grew up in the land of Vrindavan. There was no school. Maybe he was homeschooled for some time. Like Mother Yashoda taught him about birds, trees, and Nanda Maharaj taught him about cows and trade, I guess. But then he had to move to Mathura. And his foster father, Vasudev, sent him to school along with Balara. So they went to school. There Krishna became very good friends with a simple boy. His name was Sudama. They finished school, went their different ways. Sudama came from a simple Brahmin family. Krishna was a rich Kshatriya. So Krishna goes on to become a very powerful prince of Dwarka. Sudama goes to visit him. His wife, she saw that they were facing a lot of difficulties in their family life. So she urged him that he could visit Krishna and seek some help. So he goes to visit Krishna in Dwarka. In Dwarka, he's received well. In fact, Krishna serves him along with his wives. He serves Sudama as a servant would serve a master. So Sudama has tears in his eyes. He says, Krishna, we've just been friends during our school days. I wasn't expecting anything from you. But you've really stolen my heart. I feel so wonderful that I have a friend like you. Not because you've offered me all of this wonderful reception. It's that you still consider me to be your friend. Despite the differences in our status, like Krishna is famous on social media. Sudama does not have any presence on social media. One role of social media is that you should try to make friends with others who are on social media. And you would not like to be with, or you would be very careful not to be seen with someone who's not on social media. Because that could be your death on social media. So Krishna was famous. Sudama was, according to him, a non-entity. Maybe Sudama did not even enrolled for his SSN. Did not even have a social security number. Krishna treated him not just well, but as a very dear friend. So Sudama was completely in tears. Krishna says, okay, so now you feel that I've treated you well as a friend. What about you? Where's the reciprocation? Sudama is like, what can I do? I don't have anything to offer to you. Krishna says, you have nothing? I don't believe that, like in India, a friend's wife would be, like a sister-in-law. Typically, a friend's wife in India, in most of the parts of India, is called as Bhabhi. And with reverence, they call Bhabhi Ji. So the Sudama is like, Bhabhi Ji did not send anything for her Devar Ji. Did sister-in-law not send anything for a brother-in-law? That's not possible. You may forget it, but she will not forget it. So where is my present? A very renounced person had benefited a gentleman of this world. So this person wanted to reciprocate. So he comes up to the renounced person and says, please accept a gift. And the renounced person says, no, thank you. My gift is my present. Is that right? For a renounced person, the present is all that matters, the present time. So he says, no, thank you. My gift is my present. Where is my present? Krishna says. Sudama could have used the same line, right? He said, no, there's nothing. He had already got some chipped rice, but he felt really uncomfortable offering it to Krishna, who was used to all of this opulence. However, Krishna steals it away from him and says, you are a miser. You are a miser. You want to eat all of this chipped rice yourself? And he has all of that chipped rice. Well, his wife stops him from eating too much. There are various commentaries to this because this episode of the Srimad Bhagavatam it has a lot of mellows in it, a lot of mellows. For example, his wife Rukmini is the goddess of fortune, like she is the goddess of wealth. She is wondering about her reputation. If people come to know that my husband is satisfied eating chipped rice, what is my status going to be? Like if she is so wealthy, she is the goddess of wealth, why is her husband eating chipped rice? So that's the mellow. That's the rasa there. So she stops him. After a few days, Sudama goes back to his village. On the way, he is wondering that I have gone to Dwarka to seek help. I do not ask Krishna for anything. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. I do not need to ask him for help because he already knows what I need. So the reason he did not offer me any help is because he realized that that could distract me. That could be an obstacle in my life. And this is why Krishna is the best of all friends. Because he knows exactly what I need. He's my well-wisher. In this way, he was satisfied. He reaches home, there is no home. A little plot of land that was his home had a thatched hut on it. Krishna had given him a GPS instrument, Google Maps, so that he could go back home easily. The map brought him to that place, but he could not see his home. There was no thatched hut. What he saw was a palace. And then he saw some ladies come running towards him, and one of them comes to him and says, "Dear husband," and he's like, no, I'm already married. Who are you? I'm your wife. I don't know. I know my wife. So she has to go back. she had come dressed up with all of that, opulence, jewels and whatnot, fine dress. She has to go back, and she comes back in that simple dress that her husband has seen her in. And then he said, "Oh, yes, you're my wife. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." So his wife says, "Your friend Krishna, he has provided us with all of this." And then Sudama is thinking, "Oh my God, he really reads our minds. He knew why I was there. And he offered it to me." So why was Krishna miserly about it then? Why didn't he tell Sudama, "I know"? Why didn't he give Sudama some gifts? Can you imagine if Sudama had come all dressed up in opulence and with all ornaments, turban and everything? What would have happened to his wife? She'd be like, "No, you're not my husband. I know my husband." Thank you so much. So, although Krishna jokingly addressed Sudama as a miser, actually that was an interaction of very deep friendship. And seemingly it was that Krishna was being miser in the sense he did not change Sudama's situation. The reason was that when he goes back, it would be easy for his wife to recognize him. Now, doesn't that make us feel very warm about Krishna being a very, very emotional person, full of wonderful sentiments. And where, other than the Vedic literatures, can you find these sentiments of such fineness, of such richness, especially describing the nature of God and the personality of God? So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions or comments, please, you can ask or comment. All right, we'll stop. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.
It's great Rohinipriya Prabhuji. I thought let's appreciate Prabhuji for this wonderful lecture and his presence throughout the years with a lot of people.